And hello, everyone. I'm Val Evans. Thanks for joining me today. It is Sunday, and it's a great time to talk about super wealth. I'm going to show you charts today for the super wealthy and how you can spot in your astrological chart if you have any hope of achieving great material success in your lifetime. In this episode, I will be showing you some indicators that your life might be changed by abundance. And there are several planets in your chart that can show this. You may have a lot of wealth coming to you and you had no idea. So, welcome to everybody who's joining me live. And if you're looking for this show and you're on the replay, you are a valedictorian. So, I will be filing this show with no ads in the members section after my live. Hey, Zebra Girl, nice to see you. All right, so let's get started. It seems like we have a lot of super wealthy people that we're constantly hearing about and seeing about in the news, particularly Mackenzie Bezos and the first wife of Jeff Bezos, and then later Lauren Sanchez. So we're going to get into that. And I have a few more celebrities, including Kylie Jenner. I've got Oprah Winfrey, Martha Stewart, and Taylor Swift. So these are some of the planets that really come into effect when I am talking about super wealth. And it can be Neptune, which is sort of like dream money. Sometimes when you see Neptune in good aspect in, let's say, your solar return chart, which will show you your prediction for the year, if you see it in good aspect, as an example, in your fourth house of home, you might be moving into your dream place that year. So we see Neptune a lot. Moon is a benefic. It's always nice to have a nice trine or a good aspect with the moon. It's just getting help when you need it. And Venus, of course, represents money. Saturn is always good, believe it or not, because even though it's the planet that represents hard work and service and really not getting that much for your efforts. Well, if it's in, say, the 10th house, like it is or was for Queen Elizabeth II, or believe Oprah Winfrey, it can mean a very long career with, constant success over a long period of time. But my favorite planet when I look at people's charts and determine, what is abundant is Pluto. Pluto means lots and lots, means a lot of other things too. So we will break that down. All right. Now, your name, funny enough, and I am going to get slammed from people for this, but it matters. Oprah Winfrey, Win, Gail King, Taylor Swift, who's able to reach the highest of heights, Swift representing Uranus, which is a very fast planet, very futuristic in a sense, thinks of things ahead of everybody else, which has led to great abundance for her. So also Leo names, which can represent gold and wealth. So Leo names would represent or be represented by a name with SON or SEN. Taylor would be a Leo name, where you're kind of like the king or queen of the jungle. Hey, Penny D, nice to see you. So, it is Sunday, and I plan to bring this show, I hope you like it, every week. So, look out for super wealth. But yes, your name can have a lot to do with, your destiny. And if you're going to have efforts in your life that are fruitful, it's just what's the timing all about, which we will talk about. So here is Mackenzie Bezos, and she is probably one of the wealthiest women in the world. And I don't know if you've followed her, but she is she's just impressive. It's been said that she really helped her her former husband, Jeff Bezos, in his ascent and had many of the ideas that really helped with the transformation of Amazon. So she was behind a lot of it, if not most of it. And so look at how much we have in her first house of Taurus. So Taurus is wealth, and we've got two benefics, which is the moon. Then we have Venus. We've got part of fortune. You'll notice that part of fortune has a lot to do with success. It's always nice to see part of fortune in the middle of a stellium, which is three or more planets, and in a trine. So not only does she have a stellium in Taurus, which is finance or financial abundance, but her second house lord, represented second house, represents your finances, is right on her ascendant, which means the ascendant is what you're known for. It is what people see you as. So her financial background, at least now or later on in her life, would be synonymous with her identity. People would see her as rich. Now, notice I put Pluto here. Pluto is super, super important. And, Pluto at retrograde traditionally is, it's funny because we would say that it's in detriment and it wouldn't work very well. But because there is this trine to all of these wealth planets, they're wealth planets because they're in Taurus, that would just expand the amount of wealth. Retrograde, my thinking is too much. It's too much money to have. It might even be maybe a focus of contention, as I guess we've seen it, because there was so much money that she would have to manage and fight for, potentially behind the scenes. So Taurus helps. The second house lord right on your ascendant helps, but there's that Pluto, and Pluto is extremely well placed with the trine to all of those money representatives. It also shows a lot of money, or a lot of people. Planets all piled up like that in a house can show people. So this can show a lot of financial people around her, maybe helping her. Okay, so I thought I would just show you when she would get that massive wealth, and that was in 2019. So we start on the ascendant, which would be April 7th for her in her solar return chart. And as many of you know, when you follow my channel, you can actually see amazing, amazing predictions looking at your solar chart, and you can see them month to month. So for her, it would be April would start this year, and it would be a difficult year. Many solar returns that start in Scorpio show that there's a betrayal that happens. There is, since Mars rules Scorpio, and so does Pluto, Mars will manifest there with incredible anger. And we can only assume that that was the case. And Mackenzie was going through a divorce. Jupiter right on her ascendant. So that would be Jeff Bezos. Jupiter represents the husband and not acting right, retrograde there. So in detriment. But what is the profile of the husband here in her solar return chart? Well, we have a sextile there to the second house. You could see that he was and is rich. So that would be at least something in her chart. So as she would be going through this year, you could see a big, big fight with uh, whatever it was, financial subjects. And of course, this is entertainment purposes only. It's only my opinion. And so it just seems like, wow, there was a lot going on when it came to financial matters. Pluto is in there, meaning lots and lots. So if you see Pluto in your second house, uh, in your solar return, And there is a trine, especially with her trine to Venus, which represents money in Taurus. This is an incredible, incredible amount of money. So the problem is that Saturn and the Moon here, it represents, and let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Let's see here. Okay. So Saturn and Moon together is despair and sadness and depression. And so what's going to help her depression is that trine from Venus. It's like, ugh, you're just so sad. And you just can't believe what's happening, particularly, and I've seen this often when you have Black Moon Lilith there. Right here, this is a lot of nefarious things that are going on that may be revealed to you. And so just, Pluto's sexual stuff. There's somebody in the mix here who is, maybe wanting what you have. And these people or this person squaring the sun that year, her sun, the sun is very important in your solar return, particularly. Well, of course, in all charts, but the sun represents your ego, your confidence, your vitality. So, whatever is going on in here was taking it was just draining her of her vitality that year. And so, what we would do is if we wanted to look at, when all of this would go down, I mean, keep in mind, this was the year where her family was extremely affected. And we've got the descendant right on Algol. So you would know that a partnership that you would have that year would, Algol is the devil. The devil would really capture a partner and they wouldn't act right. They would act devilish that year. Could mean partying more alcohol. Alcohol is alcohol. And just not being the person that you recognize. This is a very tough solar return chart. So, uh, let's see, this would be January. The 10th house would represent January, and that's when the divorce announcement would occur. And what is ruling the 10th house is, because the 10th house starts with Virgo, it's Mercury retrograde. So it's just everyone can see that your family is announcing something, and there's this pretty big financial uh, conversation, let's say it that way. Now, as the divorce announcement was happening, it was the night before where I believe it was the National Enquirer that was threatening to go public with the information. So, Virgo represents reporters that are fighting, and that would be Mercury. So, before it all, was exposed with lots of photos, then they finally decided to come out and say they were getting divorced, or Bezos did. So really, really tough year for her, especially you couldn't have any more tension there, um, with that square, with all of this money. But in the end, Venus, um, and Jupiter, which represented her second house, really manifested into great, great wealth. Why? I always say Pluto there was in the mix. You got to have Pluto. If you want to have super, super wealth, I really believe that you're going to have a good fixed star in your chart, or you're going to have Pluto in a trine with a really good benefic point or planet. So that could be part of fortune or moon or other really good planets. All right, so now since we're talking about Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, hey Melanie, nice to see you. We are, thinking about their life is just like wow. It's impressive. It is over the top. It's wealth that most people haven't really experienced. And so you wonder, how is that manifesting? So I want to look at Lauren Sanchez's chart. And so I rectified it because she worked in TV. And so the ascendant would be um, or the rising sign quite possibly could be Gemini. She is small in stature, which would be a Gemini. And also her MC is in Aquarius and she is a helicopter pilot. So I thought that made sense. And then in general, her partnerships are going to have a Sagittarius type of energy, which can mean the movies, Netflix types of, obviously it's not Netflix, but Netflix's competitor, basically. Now, first of all, the second house for her is in a very benefic place. That helps when your second house is in Cancer. So we go over here to the 12th house. Just because your second house is in the 12th house of losses doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be that way, especially when there are trines that help this. And it can turn that energy into something like the 12th house is charities. So she's using great wealth right now to be a philanthropist. So the 12th house is really the philanthropy house. And so that's what she's doing right now. We got to really pay attention, though, not just to Moon and Taurus, her second house ruler, because it's just, it does so well in Taurus. But we also have to pay attention to Scorpio. Often I see a scorpionic energy when it comes to other people's money, which is what Scorpio represents. Other people's, Amazon itself is scorpionic because it's, other people's buying and selling things. It's an exchange in a sense. But also notice that Jupiter represents her husband. And Jupiter, this is a traditional, Camilla has this as well. So it's kind of like Scorpio is a monarch in a sense. But you've got Jupiter in Scorpio and it's trining Mars in the 10th house. Okay, so this is somebody, well, it could mean some of her partners like to drink alcohol because of Pisces. But we have, Mars is actually Jeff Bezos. Why? Because I believe he's her third husband. So she had a child with her first or partner. So we're going to go to the 11th house for Bezos. And that would be representative of Mars. So we have part of fortune right next to Jupiter, which is also the representative of a husband. And then trining Mars is just somebody who's super ambitious, makes your dreams come true, really. So the part of fortune here, I think, and also in Scorpio with this is pretty amazing. The stellium with part of fortune with the Jupiter planet of abundance, it shows that her significant others would be wealthy. So that adds to her wealth. It's someone else's wealth. What's really interesting to me, and this could be a prediction, I don't like to make bad predictions, but I do like to show what I see. And it looks really beneficial for her, but there's something here. Neptune at 29 degrees, and it is squaring the planet that represents a third husband. Now, I don't know who that's going to be, but it does represent someone who likes to drink, who might really decide that, I want to party. Or it could represent somebody who just disappears. So for someone like Lauren, I would say enjoy all of this wealth. Do as much as you can as far as doing good that you can, but don't expect that it's going to last a long time. And that's because I see that Neptune at 29 degrees squaring her third house, or I'm sorry, her third partner. Okay. So now I'm going to go to Pluto and the part of fortune. Now, this is the chart for Kylie Jenner, and this is her progress chart. This is where she is right now. Again, you're going to see Pluto, lots and lots. It's in her 10th house, and it's trining part of fortune. Now, part of fortune moves around a progress chart, inches around every year. So it does change. And when you're interested in making an investment, Pluto represents investments, real estate, uh, look to see where your part of fortune is in your progress chart. And when it moves into a trine or sextile or conjunct Pluto. And if you can see that, and also there are no really poor aspects to it. Like for her, she's got a double whammy here. She's got Pluto sextiling Neptune. Um, this is also being able to put on a facade, and people believe it in certain ways that wealth is presented. Could be real estate, could be just secrets that she has that really work for her. And then also with, let's not forget, part of fortune is in the second house for her. So massive, massive wealth right now. So good for her. And, to be wealthy and beautiful, I mean, it's pretty lucky. And so Kylie Jenner is, you know what? I think, yeah, that was her progressed. This is her birth chart. Sorry. And Pluto, where's Pluto? Pluto's right here. Again, trining. This is when she was born, part of fortune. So massive, massive fortune. Unbelievable. The other thing, too, that I didn't mention, you want to keep an eye out on the nodes. The nodes are like pouring gasoline on something. And when you pour gasoline on Venus, which is cash money, that means that's a good thing. That means that it's more like, I should probably say, watering a plant. It means abundance. So nice North Node conjunct Venus there. Now, her second house is ruled by Aquarius. So she would be making a lot of money online. And Uranus retrograde, we would think sometimes that there would be problems with financial things, but she's saved here because of the trine. It's like a mini grand trine. There's a sextile to Pluto, and which means a lot of visionary energy, a lot of power. Okay. And it's all connected with part of fortune. So it kind of saves her a little bit. Uranus retrograde might be that, maybe she's a little bit slower to, I don't know, create something than what she would like. I mean, it wouldn't be like that. We wouldn't be able to see that. But for her, she might want to have, I don't know, ideas that manifest a little bit faster, possibly. There's definitely something about that Uranus retrograde that's part of the equation there that gives her a little bit of a difficulty, but for the most part, she does pretty well. So I really like that part of fortune there and that trine. And then, gosh, you got to love Leo. Leo is the queen, and right near the Regulus area, which is a queen, that's another signature. So always nice to have several signatures of wealth. Good to see you, Angel D. I'm sorry you couldn't sleep. Wow, it's early there. I was up at 6 today, and I think I was just anticipating this week. I was excited about it because I've got a lot of shows coming and just, you get lost in thought. Now, Taylor Swift. This is some chart. I know some of you have looked at this one, but look at how Pluto is in her 10th. Now, we know that Pluto is also the revenge planet. And something I want to go over a little bit with the Mackenzie Bezos chart. And I'm going to do that in a second. But Scorpio and Taurus are, they're on the same axis, they're opposite, and they really play a part in wealth. And notice how, Taylor Swift, what is she known for is, being a bad girl, getting a good girl, but being a bad girl and how she deals with her issues, which is that red line there. Red line going back and forth, pointing to a famous significant other, Jupiter retrograde. They're no good. They are, maybe some of them are good, but they are not as successful as she is. And it's very difficult. So, Moon next to Jupiter, Jupiter representing a partner, is famous men. So she would have to deal with famous men back and forth, but what would fuel her money? And that would be this 10th house, Black Moon Lilith, writing songs that, everybody would be guessing what they meant. And again, what do we have here? We have part of fortune with Chiron, okay, and that is trining Pluto. So this is part of fortune, trining Pluto, massive, massive, massive success. With Uranus here, Uranus is secret releases maybe of online types of things. Uranus is the internet, um, making, let's just say that Pluto is activated when she surprises her fans. Uranus is secret surprises, those Easter eggs. So, it's really fortunate in many ways, but also traumatizing when she has to deal with heartbreak. Here's Martha Stewart. We've got Pluto in a stellium here, and we've got this mini grand trine. Jupiter. When you have Gemini and it's in a really nice aspect, normally you're going to be on TV, or you have the skills to be on TV if you want to. But you have an emphasizer planet, Jupiter. You have Pluto here, which is lots and lots, and it's in Leo, which represents gold and the queen. She would be called the queen by the press. And sorry about that. Let me see. I don't think I can make it any larger. But you can see now Mars here. That's an interesting thing. Mars is in Aries. This is a person who is fast at what she does. I recall that one time she recently said that she loves being able to figure out how many things she can do in one day, and that's what gives her energy. So that would be Mars in Aries, and just these emphasizer planets here. So, but, Pluto is also trining part of fortune. So 5th house is families. And it's also a very benefic house. So she's also giving, it seems like she's giving away a lot of fortune, which is South Node. So with Pluto up there, Pluto at the very top there, in Leo and really well aspected. It seems like for the most part, she does well. That Black Moon Lilith there in Taurus, that could mean what she does with her money. And sometimes it hurts her. And she goes to jail and it's seen in the newspapers, which would be the 9th house. All right. Now, Oprah. Oprah, let's take a look at the 2nd house. Her 2nd house This is for her solar return. I only put up her solar return for 1998. All right. And Pluto is there in her third house. Pluto in Sagittarius is amazing. It means deals, it means Hollywood, it means bigger than you could possibly imagine. And so that's always good. But she has also, let's see here, in her natal chart, this is her natal chart. Pluto in Leo again. This is right at Regulus. Notice how, and this is no coincidence or accident, it is in her birth chart. Her basically her big deal that she got was when CBS bought King World. Initially, she made a nice amount of cash with King World that uh, gave her a big deal, and then Gayle King, also by her side, also has been instrumental in, you know, promoting her. It's like her own personal promoter, really. So with Pluto here, it's in the eighth house of investments. So she was going to be making a lot of investments that year. I'm sorry, this is her birth chart. So she would be making dream investments in her whole life, basically. Now, notice that the ascendant, I'm just going to go and talk really quickly about bodies and body images and that kind of thing. You would think that Oprah had it all, but the struggle that she's always talked about is her weight. And so her ascendant is on 29 degrees of Sagittarius. And often when people are larger than they feel comfortable with, Sagittarius is involved. And at the degree of 29, the anoretic degree is very weak, not having the control in order to control her weight. But Sagittarius is still a big thinker. Now, the second house is super important. You don't have to have a lot of planets in your birth chart. And this is for her birth chart, but you've got part of fortune in her second house, so super successful there. And also Jupiter is, Stedman. I gotta say, Stedman is Jupiter in her chart and Mercury in the second house. So he's wealthy as well. I don't think we know how much wealth he brings in, but both of them together, wow. So we're talking major wealth. A benefic Venus in the second house and Cazimi the sun, which is just superpower. So when you're looking at a chart and you see a lot of second house activity with a benefic in there, with a trine to a benefic and an what do you call it? An emphasizer. Uh, and then in a big trine here, uh, it it's really helpful and it gives you strength financially. I am interested in that Black Moon Lilith, though. And it seems like there might be some secrets that she has when it comes to maybe the media secrets that have helped her generate wealth. But I did want to talk about, let's see, 1998. Yeah. 1998 was a big year, and Pluto was probably the biggest factor in her year. You can't see it, but it's a big trine. Let me see if I can fix that. Hold on one second. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. Okay, here we go. So I've got, hey, Toy, nice to see you. All right, so look at this mini grand trine here. Wow. And this was the year that she just made it big. It was huge. So funny enough that her ruling planet, the chart ruler, okay, is retrograde. So there, don't think that there weren't problems, that maybe she felt like she could have gotten something more than what she got. But because she has this trine with part of fortune, these are secrets here. 12th house is secret success that she had. And this in the middle of Capricorn, around 12 degrees, also represents it's a fixed star or a fixed point, and it represents great wealth. So, always great to have planets benefic, a benefic planet around that 12 degrees of Capricorn. And and I learned that through the Serbian Nikola from Serbia. So this is just a super chart that Pluto would really contribute to when it comes to massive success. And look at how Uranus is in there, which is something that lays down the groundwork for something that's future. So she was a visionary way back then and starting to build yet another empire. And look, we've got Mercury is conjunct the chart ruler, so it's a twin plan of some sort, where she was going, or she was thinking at that point she was going to build a second empire, which would be online and also her own network. All right. So going back to Mackenzie Bezos. Let's see here. This is her birth chart. Notice that now there are two planets that represent Jeff Bezos. One is Jupiter, which is no surprise. Look at that opposition there. A big fight, lots of revenge, feelings of revenge, and then also Venus. Venus represents. So interesting seeing that, because if this is her husband, he's very wealthy, and all of his wealth goes, not all, but a good portion of his wealth goes to her, which would be the first house. She would be identified through his means, even though it was her idea anyway, or she really expanded Amazon to great heights from what is reported. So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is notice how we've got revenge here. And I think it's almost like revenge giving is a possibility, where you're going to potentially give away your money to people that maybe your husband doesn't really approve of, or something there. But there's definitely that scorpionic type of energy that has to do with this money. Now, let's see, Mercury is there. Yeah, it just looks like a huge fight. So incredible to see that Taurus there. You won't see that in Lauren Sanchez's chart. I don't think she'll ever be as wealthy as Mackenzie, but I think she'll be able to enjoy the benefits of being around a billionaire, and but it won't be for a very long period of time, in my opinion. So, hey, Majestic Oracle, nice to see you. So that's pretty much what I have for today. If you guys have any questions on other celebrities or other super wealthy people, I mean, I was thinking of doing Melania and or Ivanka, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to offend, so I wasn't sure if I should do that. But if you have any ideas of just the super wealthy, I'd love to cover them and show you a little bit about how you can be just as wealthy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in your birth chart. It just has to be. And I know that goes against the astrologers and what they say. They say you have to manifest and through your birth chart. But I have seen before that if you've got a good solar return chart, that you can have an especially abundant year. Yes, I'm going to do a lottery show. How about I do that next week? I'll put together several charts and we'll do a lottery show next Sunday. How about that? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed some of these charts and talking about the super wealthy. Remember, it's all about Pluto. And keep in mind that Pluto means sex too. So a lot of times you're going to see, when somebody wants something to go viral or be really popular in Netflix, you're going to see the sex scenes. You're going to see people looking sexy like Kylie Jenner. You're going to have that sexual element that really catapults, not to say that that's what you should do, but that catapults the brand. Even Pluto representing real estate is like I guess they call it real estate porn. There has to be some kind of Plutonian element to it where people become obsessed about it. And yes, well, if you're coming in just now, I'm gonna end this program and I'm going to keep it live, or I'm going to keep it up for a little while for subscribers. And then if you are if you're a member, then you'll be able to take a look at this with no ads, and that'll be tomorrow. So thanks guys for joining me. And if you're interested in a reading, you can go to Astrology with Val as me and get your solar return chart read. It's pretty easy and amazing when it comes to predictions. So, all right, guys. And I will have an agenda for this week for my shows. I'm going to be on a lot this week. So thanks for your time, guys. I'll talk to you soon.